Let's see the dietetics rule, what Ayurveda says about eating food. In Charak Samhita, Sutrasthan, there are certain dietetics rule was mentioned. They said that eat always fresh. So whenever you're cooking food, Ayurveda always believe that you need not to keep food for the next meal. Eat uh, food according to your sorry, cook food according to your need and then eat it. Don't keep it leftovers. Like don't eat leftovers, and which is quite challenging in today's busy life. But they always says if you want a good health, always eat fresh. It's not like you pluck and then only cook, but at least if you're preparing food, it should be fresh. When we do the processing, after adding certain herbs, condiments, the food start degrading its nutritional value sometimes. So it should be consumed within certain time. If you, I have seen many people like what they practice is they chop and they keep. That is also fine because we don't have much time. But at least if you're preparing the food, cooking a food, you can get that chopped vegetables and do. Although they are not saying that you just keep it there, because think about many years back when they don't have refrigerators. Now we have refrigerators. Like it's like 50 to 100 years back, only we got that refrigeration done to the food. But before that, food turns into something else if you're putting there. And in summers, the process is quite fast. If you keep something out, they get stale, they rotten up easily, they get bad smell from the food. So that is very important to keep the food more fresh. And Ayurveda don't believe in refrigerating the food, right? Number second is eat always warm. So whenever you are eating food, it should be warm. I've seen many people, they take lemonades, cold beverages, smoothies, they put extra ice into their drinks and then have it. And sometimes we have sparkling water, which we drink very cold, right? They are drinking kombucha, which is quite good for the gut. But again, they put ice into it, right? Iced teas are there, iced coffees are there. So think about if you are giving your digestion a name Agni, fire, and think about if you're putting that cold water, ice into the fire, what will happen to your fire? So the same thing happens inside the body. Whenever we intake something very cool, your body needs more calories to first bring it into the body temperature, internal body temperature, and then it starts its processing, digestion. So lots of calories are required, and sometimes the person is weak, going through some congestion, going through some fever, low on immunity, they are unable to digest food properly, and then they stuck into bloating, gas, and constipation. Then they says, okay, why I'm eating something and I'm having this? I'm eating very healthy, very natural. They are unaware that drinking water also creating indigestion sometimes. If you're drinking too much of water, some people what they do is they eat less and they drink lots of water. Again, that cold water interrupt the agni fire in the digestion, and then they leads to indigestion, ama production. Ama is what indigested material in the body, right? So always eat warm. Try to eat warm most of the time. If I'm not talking about the exceptional time when you're partying out or going out, but at least when you are at home, at least eat your food warm. Unctuous food and moist food. I would always believe that your food should contain some moisture, because if you see the gut lining of your alimentary canal, of your GI tract, of your digestive tract, it is made up of mucus. Mucus is what? It's a very slippery, slimy kind of a layer over the gut which protect the gut. If you're taking a hard food, any kind of a rough, choky food, it will interrupt the process. If your food is very dry, and it's not like one meal is dry, okay. If you're taking one meal dry, it's okay. But if you're eating maximum of your meal so dry, then the problem arises. Your gut become very dry. That's why we cook food. Sometimes we garnish food with some olive oil, or we put some sesame oil, sunflower oil, different oils are there. We cook in the oil. to bring the unctus property in the food. Sometimes we eat ghee also. We always say our patients to add some ghee into the food. And sometimes if someone is consuming milk, so we say add some ghee into it. Coffee is very drying in nature. We sometimes say that add some ghee into your coffee. So that will control the dryness part of the coffee if you're not capable of controlling the coffee. So we say that at least add one cow ghee into it, right? So yeah, your food should be unctuous. The fourth one is appropriate quantity. This is the question of the individual questions, like how much quantity one should eat, right? So eat number one according to your digestive caliber. Uh, if you divide the whole stomach into three parts, one part is for the food, one part is for the air, and one part is for the water. So one third of your whole stomach you need to eat. But what we do is we eat up to the brim. If the tasty food is there, we eat up to the, you know. So try not to do that, because again, no matter how healthy your food is, if you're not eating into a proper quantity, that healthy food turns into unhealthy food, right? Because it's not important to have good food, it's important to have properly digested food, right? So yeah, even in yogic practices, we always say eat ahar according to your need, right? You're not living to eat, you're eating because of the for the living. So eat according to your body requirement. Here come the concept of calories intake also. Many people, they are very peculiar about the calories, like this much is for the male, this much is for the female, for children's we require. You do that. But again, the quantity should be this much that you can digest it properly. And it varies from person to person. It shouldn't be like, okay, both the men's have 1800 kilocalorie or calories food intake. No, if one is like having a Vata personality, he should eat lesser amount. If someone is a Kapha personality, again, he can require medium amount. And if someone is a Pitta personality, of course, because they have a good digestive caliber, they need a larger amount to assimilate food or metabolize that food easily. So quantity plays a very important role. Again, if you're eating something very heavy, eat half of your hunger. Even after finishing the food, there should be some hunger left. If you are eating light food, eat still 80% of your hunger. Even after finishing the food, you feel like, okay, I can eat some more, right? Only then you can able to digest that properly. And don't drink water straight away after you finishing the food, right? Or before starting the food, you drink lots of water. Try not to do that. That will lead to indigestion. The fifth one is when previous meal get digested. This is very important. Nowadays, we eat together. What we do is we say that, okay, if we are meeting someone, we say, okay, come, let's meet over lunch or dinner. So Ayurveda always says that eat according to, watch yourself first. If you're hungry, only then eat. Again, one and two doesn't matter if you're taking one meal or two meal like this. But if you're continuously seeing other people and eating, like, okay, it's a meal time, let's have it. Everyone is eating, I'm also eating, no matter if my previous meal is not digested. So try not to do that. Munching is quite common nowadays. Everybody between the meals, they are munching, they are snacking. So that also leads to this. So if you are munching a lot, try not to do that. There should be a certain gap between the two meals, uh, because your body also need, you know, systematic way of processing the food. It shouldn't be like you give some files in the office to your co-worker, and he's like finishing the files, and you give more files in between and say, okay, finish this also. So then he become, for him it's become a struggle. So similarly, your gut also struggles if you putting again and again so much of food into it. So try to not to do it. Watch out yourself. Now the question arises, how can I feel like whether I digested my food? So you feel hungry, number one. You feel lighter in the body. You feel like, okay, let's have something. I'm feeling hungerness there, you know, and your senses are awakened. You doesn't feel like drowsy. Think about when you eat lots of food, you feel like, okay, let's sleep. So you will not feel that when you are hungry. Yeah. So when previous meal get and approximately 4 to 6 hour gap between the two meals should be there, right? I'm not talking about snacking. I'm talking about two major meals. And yes, snacking is something which is not advisable in Ayurveda. In ancient time, nobody snacks, right? So we all are doing that because we have lots of availability of food now. Six, in an appropriate environment. So that is also very important. I always says to my patients that eat alone. Try not to eat with family, right? Why? So they all laugh. So I always says why? Because sometime, with the you sit, you do the conversation. Sometimes conversations are very strong and very intense, and then it end up to certain problems. So there is no mindful eating. So try to be a mindful eater. And have you ever seen that while watching a food, if you're seeing something, while eating a food, if you're watching a TV, and if there is something coming in the TV, you feel like, okay, I'm not eating it, right? Your mood changes suddenly. So that is also very important. Your environment where you are sitting, if there is a foul smelling, you can't eat a food, right? So you need to enjoy each and every flavor of food. Environment also, I always say is my patient, so make your eating place very beautiful so that you can enjoy eating, right? And it should be quieter. It shouldn't be like with lots of noise, chaos. So eat in a very quieter, mindful way. Mindful eating, not very hurriedly you need to eat, or not very slow. If you eat very slow, then also there is you become under nutrition, or if you eat very fast, you are not chewing it properly and not digesting it properly, you sometimes overeat. So keep also that thing also in mind, that food is like eating food is like a sacred ritual. Some people, they do praise and then they eat. Why they do? They calm their mind and then they do the mindful eating. They call for the positive energy, because food is what? Prana, right? So whatever you are putting inside your body, it becomes part of your body. So try to love that thing and feel that thing. When you do conscious eating, that energy goes inside the body and heal. Sometimes we even you have seen several healers. They say if you're drinking water, think like you are eating, drinking something which is healing your different organs. That's the energy you're consuming. And the food is panchabhautik, 5 elements based. So it nourishes all the 5 elements of your body. So it should be in a calm environment, in a very mindful way. It should be consumed in a very mindful way. Okay. The last one is prepare food with happy mind. Okay, preparation is also very happy. It's not about always eating. Preparation is also very important. The one who prepares food, he should be happy. That's why we all love, most of the time we love food prepared by our mother or our guardians or parents, because they put love into it, and that energy comes inside us and give more and more strength, endurance, and they have a healing property also. So food nowadays become very commercialized. So this concept is somewhere you can't do. But again, if you're preparing for yourself, if you know about your veggies, if you know about your prakriti, you enjoy cooking food also. So that also gives you some idea, that also gives you some positive energy, and that also heals your body when you prepare yourself. So again, it's a sacred ritual, as I said, preparing and eating. So keep it more pleasurable